What's up, guys? Brian Daneff here. And, there's a perception, I think, in sports that the Yankees and the Yankee fan are spoiled. That they have seen so much winning since, 1995, 1996, and that every year they win a championship, or every year they at least make it to the postseason. And that last part is definitely true. I mean, the Yankees have made the postseason pretty much almost every year for the last 25 years. That's pretty insane. They've missed the postseason, I think, 4 times since 1994. If you count 94, they would have made it that year if not for the strike. They've been in the postseason a lot. Obviously, they won 4 out of 5 World Series in the late 90s and into 2000. But since 2000, the Yankees have won 1 World Series, and it was 2009. Now, hey, I'm very grateful for 2009. It was one of the best experiences of my life, going to that game and seeing the Yankees win the World Series in person. Something I'll never forget, something I cherish. I love that team. But I've been watching the Yankees religiously since 2005, 2006. I made a video about it if you want to go check it out a couple of years ago. About my first year as a Yankees fan truly was 2006, as a diehard, passionate fan who watches every night. So I've been watching the Yankees now since then, and this is the 14th season that I've watched the Yankees religiously. And if I did the math and I counted all the games and I counted all the seasons, I've probably watched 65-70% of all of it. The percentage is probably higher, but I don't want to embarrass myself. But fact remains, I'm a huge Yankees fan, and I've watched a lot of Yankees baseball. I'm 21, so do the math, but it's a lot of baseball to watch. It's a lot of games. It's a lot of years. Doesn't matter how old I am. And something that really sticks out to me about pretty much all those teams, except 2009, where they were able to win it all, is the following. They had an amazing lineup, a really good, if not historically great, bullpen, and a mediocre rotation. I can go back to each individual game and look at what went wrong, but on the surface, and I think if you dig deeper, you will find the Yankees have only won 1 World Series in 20 years because they don't know how, or they refuse to build a strong starting rotation. Now, I know, it sounds silly, and I get it, because I'm even thinking right now of all the amazing Yankee starting pitchers I've seen pitch. Andy Pettitte, Roger Clemens, CC Sabathia in his prime, Mike Messina, new Hall of Famer. Congrats, Moose. Well deserved. I think of Masahiro Tanaka has had a number of really strong seasons. But when you look past that, who else is there? Randy Johnson in 2006 was not Randy Johnson in all the years prior. Sonny Gray was not the Sonny Gray the Yankees faced when he was in Oakland. J Happ is not the J Happ that the Yankees had last year. That's for sure. And that, decision to re-sign him is looking pretty terrible right now. And basically what I'm trying to get at is that we are seeing, again, the same season play out. Amazing lineup, great bullpen. They're going to win the division. I really think they will. They have a big enough lead, and I think they'll maintain it. I'm not saying Boston and Tampa Bay still can't claw back and cut the lead in half, as Boston is kind of in the process of doing right now. But the Yankees are going to win the division, and they're going to win 95 games. They might win 100 games. But when they get to October, as we've seen so many times this century, I don't think they're going to go far. They might go. They might win the ALDS. They might get to the ALCS. I don't think the rotation right now has even a puncher's chance of carrying them through the postseason. Now, again, it's July 27th. The trade deadline is coming up. The Yankees can acquire a Noah Syndergaard or a Zach Greinke or a Marcus Stroman. And if they acquire one or two of those guys, this whole narrative somewhat changes. And I say somewhat because none of those guys are, in my opinion, I love to be proven wrong. Please prove me wrong, whoever gets acquired by the Yankees in the next couple days. None of those guys are half the pitchers that the guys that the Yankees have let go were and are. What I mean by that is, and again, hindsight is 2020, and I know, look, it's in the past, and yes, the Yankees obviously should be moving forward, and the Yankees, in 2014, Max Scherzer becomes a free agent. They say he's too expensive. He goes to the Nationals. Then they sign Tanaka the offseason before, but anyway, Justin Verlander becomes available in 2017. No teams put in a waiver claim on him, and the Astros acquire him seconds before the August 31st deadline, which is actually now no longer a thing. The deadline for all trades is July 31st this year, which I'm happy about. Verlander goes to the Astros instead of the Yankees, so the Yankees don't want to raise the luxury tax or exceed the luxury tax, and Verlander goes on to beat the Yankees single-handedly in the ALCS. The Yankees would have won the pennant if they didn't face Houston. They would have won the pennant if they had Justin Verlander. They probably would have won the World Series if they had Justin Verlander in 2017. And then the offseason, Garrett Cole's available. And what happens? The Yankees don't want to trade Miguel Andujar to the Pirates, so the Astros get him. And I even missed out on Chris Sale, who was available when right before the White Sox traded him the Red Sox. The Yankees had some prospects to work with, could have worked out a package. Didn't happen. He goes to the Red Sox, and he, of course, helps the Red Sox win the World Series. The Yankees have missed out on acquiring an ace for a long time. The last ace they acquired was Tanaka in 2014, and we knew by the end of that season that he wasn't going to be the same pitcher with the UCL tear. Prior to that, you go to CC Sabathia, and CC Sabathia has not been anywhere near an ace-type pitcher since 2011. And they have continually tried to acquire, and they do acquire, these number 3, these number 2-ish starters. And it brings you to today. And again, Luis Severino obviously emerged as an ace in 2017 and for the first half of 2018. But you remember what happened in the second half. He was healthy, but he sucked. And now he's been hurt. And obviously his absence has played a role and has been unfortunate and unforeseen. But you look at it now, you come to today, and the Yankees don't have an ace. There's no ace on in this rotation. I know Masahiro Tanaka is not the pitcher he was on Friday or Thursday. I know he's not going to give up 12 runs to the Red Sox every time out. But that's just not something Justin Verlander would do. That's just not something that CC Sabathia in his prime did. You look at James Paxton. He might be hurt, and I want to like him, and he has good stuff. And we've heard this before when you think about Javier Vasquez or AJ Burnett, and I hate to mention him in that same breath, and I hope he's hurt, and I hope that's the explanation for why he sucks. But bottom line is, right now, he sucks. Same goes for J Happ, who I think is just old, and the Yankees really should have just let him walk in free agency because he's hurting them more than he's helping them, and can't help but give up home run after home run after home run. And the same can be said about Tanaka and Paxton. So, and again, and I hope I'm wrong, but if the Yankees acquire a Syndergaard or a Stroman or a Greinke, I don't think any of them are going to match up. Whoever they acquire at this deadline, they're probably going to expect to be their ace. That's a tall order for these pitchers. I hope that Syndergaard answers the call, or Stroman answers the call, or Greinke answers the call. Obviously, they've all been close to ace level, and Greinke obviously was really, really good with the Dodgers when he was with Clayton Kershaw. And Greinke's having a good year, and so was Stroman. Syndergaard's not so much, but still he has amazing stuff. It's just the Yankees are really going to try to win the World Series this season once again on the backs of their amazing lineup, hoping they can utilize their bullpen effectively in October, and just praying that whoever starts for them can get through 3 or 4 innings unscathed. And I don't think Tanaka can do that. I don't think Paxton can do that. I don't think Happ can do that. And unfortunately, we all know that CC Sabathia can no longer do that. So that leaves Severino coming back and pitching like an ace, or Cashman acquiring someone at the deadline and them transforming mid-season into an ace when they haven't been for this season or for multiple seasons. It's a really tall order. It's a frustrating situation the Yankees are in because, again, as I've said, this feels so much like every other Yankee season I've watched except 2009. And when you think about 2009, how did they win that World Series? With a 3-man rotation. CC, AJ, Andy Pettitte. Because they didn't have a 4th starter. They didn't have a 5th starter. Or they did, but you know who they were? Jabba Chamberlain, or Chad Gaudin, or Sergio Mitre. So even in the season they won it all, they got really lucky that they had 3 good enough starters. Obviously CC wasn't ace then, but 3 good enough starters to get over the hump and to win it all, and to beat, luckily, a struggling Cole Hamels, and they overcame losing twice to Cliff Lee in that World Series. But so again, it's a frustrating kind of like, talk about the Lion King that just came out. It's a circle of life. It's just like, it feels like a cycle, and it's like it doesn't change. The faces are different. The team is younger than it ever has been. They're more exciting than they've been in a long time. This isn't your dad's Yankees with 40-year-old Jeter and 40-year-old A-Rod and 35-year-old Teixeira and blah blah blah. They're really young and they're really exciting. When you look at the lineup and you look at the bullpen, and then you get to the rotation, you just cringe. And that's how I felt growing up, too. I mean, in 2006, I remember the Yankees starting Jarrett Wright in Game 4 of the ALDS in Detroit with their season on the line. I remember in 2010, the Yankees tried to send A.J. Burnett out there to get through 6 innings against the Rangers in the ALCS, and he couldn't do that. Gave up the home run to Benji Molina. These memories are so vivid for me because obviously this is like my thing. But again, to me right now, it seems like the season is going in a very familiar direction. I was fooled early on. I literally just made a video where I said how great the Yankees were and how amazing and exciting this season's been, which is true, but I'm starting to set myself up for disappointment because I really just don't know if this team... they don't. It's not a question of if. This team does not have an ace, and without an ace, you don't win. You don't win World Series. You just don't. And it's a shame. It's a real shame. So I don't know who to blame. Do we blame Brian Cashman? Do we blame Hal Steinbrenner? I think we can blame Hal Steinbrenner for being pretty cheap and frugal when it comes to not acquiring Verlander or signing Scherzer or trading for Cole. And again, with Severino being hurt, that's a bummer too. But no excuse for the Yankees not to have other options. They keep thinking season after season that the rotation is just good enough, and just good enough does not win championships, as we've seen. So that's all I'll say for now. We'll see what happens at the trade deadline. Maybe Cashman pulls a rabbit out of his hat and convinces Washington to deal Scherzer, even though they're in second place and only a few games out in the NL East, or somehow prize Trevor Bauer from the Indians. But I don't know. And again, anything short of Max Scherzer, I'm just not going to be that impressed by. And I know it's a high bar, but I think it's warranted. This team can win now. And again, just like all those teams I grew up watching, where they were so close. And yes, they won 100 games or 98 games in the division, and it was wonderful. And yes, being a Yankees fan can be pretty great, and you watch a lot of winning baseball. But in my life, in my experience being a Yankees fan, we only won once, when in reality, we could have won 4, 5, 6 more times. I'm not exaggerating. I'm really not. So, you can see I'm frustrated, and hopefully I'm not going to be frustrated by the time October rolls around, but we'll see. So, consider my expectations tempered at best. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at Brian Danoff, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Approaching 700 subscribers, which I'm pretty proud of. Obviously, it's not the millions and millions that other people have, but I'm surprised that even 50 people like watching me talk about the Yankees, let alone close to 700. So thanks for subscribing if you have, and stay tuned for more videos. They'll come slowly but surely. I always do eventually get around to making a new video, so and definitely will come playoff time. So and I'll be in Los Angeles, actually, funny enough. So yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in my next video.